Okay, starting here with Chapter 9. I've already downloaded Chapter 9's data file. There is a data file. Now, it's a continuation of Paint Palette from Chapter 8, but the reason you want to do a data file, start with the new data file, it's going to have made sure that you made no mistakes and everything is where they want Paint Palette to be when we start Chapter 9. So start with the fresh data file. Okay, the first thing they're going to ask you to do is to record investments and record that deposit. And again, you'll start to see in these chapters they're referring you back to stuff you learned. Remember in Chapter 3. So when you're going to do, the first thing they ask you is to record the deposit. And you did this with owner's investments before. So this video may move a little quicker with the stuff that you've seen before. So we would say deposit to the checking. We got to make sure we change the date. Be careful on these dates because it's very important that you get the right date. So I'm having to flip through here all the way to January 1st of 2020. Oops, I went too far. Okay. And it's going to be a memo. It's going to be a deposit. Okay. So where we're going to say received from, add new, and they say put your name because you're the owner. But other. Okay, trying to jump ahead here. Okay, and I will put my name in. So I'm the owner, and this is going to go to the opening balance account of open balance equity. And the memo is going to be invest in business. Okay. Check number 1001, method check, and amount 6,000. Okay, and then we can hit save and close. We're not worrying about printing it. The next step is to record transactions. Remember, we use the write check feature for cash payments, and we use the enter bills over here. The enter bills is over here under vendors. Okay. So we again learned this in previous chapters. So in the next couple of pages, 9, 6, and we're going to write a check for the computer cost of $1,500 for Cornell Technologies. Okay, we go to page 9, 8, and 9, 9, and then you're going to have paint supplies that you're going to purchase on as an accounts payable. Paint supplies expense using entering bills. Again, not walking you through this, things you've learned before. Some of the things I do want to point out when you're entering the bills in a customer job, again, I think I warned you in an earlier chapter, make sure you apply it to the right job. So for that Katrina beneficiary, make sure it's in the dining room. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going, if you notice that you're going to have to do Brewer paint supplies. And again, we're just doing the same thing except the date. I'll walk quickly through this one with you. Brewer paint supplies, amount due, 500, terms here, net 30, okay, and your account, you need to make sure you change this account to the equipment cost. Be sure, not the equipment, but the equipment cost. And the reason I'm pointing a lot of this out to you is because I've seen in the past where y'all just grab the first thing that you read. You'll just go right to equipment instead of the equipment cost. All that makes a difference when, again, running through the grader. And then you can hit save and close. And the terms, would you like to have this new information? And you can choose yes or no. It doesn't matter. Another area I see where y'all sometimes struggle with is these memorized transactions. So we're going to show you how to memorize the leasing payment that you're going to start making every month to Hartzheim Leasing for $200 a month on the van rental. So you're going to hit enter bills. Okay. Again, the date's 1/4. The vendor here is going to be Hartzheim Leasing. Okay. The amount due will be 200. Oops, 200. It's net 30. The account for this will be the rent, 67,100 rent expense. The memo, you can put van lease, lease, okay. And then what you're going to do is go up to the top where it says memorize, okay, and you select add to my reminder list, select how often, and this is a monthly payment that you're going to do for the van lease. So enter the next date. Again, make sure you do this here because again these dates are not always set up. We're going to have to remember the next date is 2/1/2020. Okay, and then hit OK to record. And now you've memorized that transaction, and then you can hit save and close. Okay. Just if you need to use this later, as it says, you go up to list, memorize transaction list, and you'll be able to double click on the one that you want to use. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to walk you through paying bills, but you'll have 3 bills to pay on page 913. Be sure to change the payment date in step 7 to 2/4/20. Okay. So the next thing we'll talk about is we'll do the sales transaction. And again, you use create invoices if you're going to charge the customer for the services. And then after you have to receive the payment, so create invoices to set up the accounts receivable, receive payment when the customer pays. If you're going to do a cash, you can just go immediately to record deposits when you or create sales receipts when it's a cash payment from a customer for immediate payment. So let's go to create invoices, which you've done, and we select the job, and again choose the dining room. Okay, and it's select outstanding billable times. You're going to hit OK. Remember, we were marking billable on some of those things when we had for Katrina. Okay, under the expenses tab, okay, you're going to have enter a markup amount of 40%. Okay. Markup account is going to be for sales. Okay. You're going to check the brewer paint supplies and click OK. Notice they marked it up from 300 to 425. Okay. Now, into it, we're going to do it's a service invoice, okay, and the date is going to be on the 31st. Okay, so we've got the 420 for the paint supplies. Now we've got to enter the labor cost. So we're going to go to this next line here and label again for the mural, okay, and we need to the rates for it too, but we need to put in the quantity of 82 hours. Okay, so that should be 3,280. You'll notice your total invoice here is 3,700. Okay. Now Katrina is going to pay us, so what we have to do here is receive payments. Okay. Check that. We're going to select received from, and again, it's the dining room job. We can check off this. We can check it off because it's automatically going to calculate that, the 3,700. Got to remember to change the state to 2/4. Okay. Check payment. Check. Okay. Check number 555. Okay. And after you finish that, you can go ahead and hit save and close. Now that records the payment. Oops, I thought I hit save and close. That does not record the deposit. So anytime you receive a payment, you're going to have to then go into record deposits. Okay. So what do we want to select here is the $3,700, and then we can hit OK. It's coming out of the undeposited funds and it's going to go into the checking account. And you'll notice if you don't do this, it'll leave all those payments that you think you received and recorded from the customers, it'll leave it in undeposited funds. To move it to the cash account, you have to do this step of making sure you take the undeposited funds and record to deposits. And then you can hit save and close. Now, next step is we're going to record adjusting entries. I'm just going to work through one of these with you. And we go up here, we just make general journals entries. Okay, so we go up to accountant, make general journal. Okay, and we're going to do the date at December 31st. So they've jumped us ahead now to December 31st. Oops, for these journal entries. Okay, to record depreciation. Okay, so before we even get to that, they ask you to export the trial balance, not the adjusted trial balance, but the trial balance. Then it tells you to go in and make these entries. So entry number 1 is going to be adjusting entry number 1, ADJ1. Okay, when we record depreciation, you learned this in 201, we debit the depreciation expense and you credit accumulated depreciation of the asset that's being depreciated. So the first one here, we're going to depreciate. We'll enter 65,300, which is depreciation expense on the computer. Okay, enter $1,500 on your calculator and divide by 3. Why? The cost was $1,500, but you're depreciating it over 3 years. So only 1/3 is going to be depreciated. So we debit for $500. Okay. And then the credit is to 14,300 accumulated depreciation. Okay, not the computer cost, but the computer depreciation. And that will be your credit. Okay. And then you can hit save at the top. Okay. And you can go on if there's any other entries they ask you to do. You can do these now. Again, continue with the chapter. Print the required reports that they ask you to do, the adjusted trial balance, the financial statements. That's all within the chapter that you need to do. Then for exercise 9.1, and I'm not going to walk you through these, but what you're going to do is record transactions. You need to be very careful about what you're doing with the transactions. If you paid immediately for something, write the check. But if it's not, and you have and you're paying later, make sure you enter through the bills. Watch your dates, and you will do those for the next couple of pages. Next thing then in exercise 9.2 will be the sales transactions. And again, I can't stress enough, make sure you got the right customer, the right job, and the right item that you're applying the sales transactions. But notice something else. You're going to record, if you're looking at page 931, payment received and deposited, which means you're going to receive payments, but you're going to have to do the second step of recording the deposit. Then you can again follow what they need you to do as far as the deposit details and what you need to export. Exercise 9.3, you're going to have year-end adjustments, so you will have more adjusting entries to do. Okay, like we did in the chapter. And then the last thing probably will be to print probably some more financial statements. Okay, I know this is a little bit long video, that's why I'm not continuing, but a lot of this you've seen before. Good luck with chapter 9.